Lounge. So we've been wanting to start this as a podcast for a really long time. We are the Photizo Team, or some of the Photizo Team members, otherwise known as Daintree Health Products. So we've been wanting to do this podcast for a really long time. We've obviously got the very fabulous Nick Thompson, who was sponsoring to do a canine health podcast for us. And we wanted to create our own podcast as well, to cover all sorts of things from human health to animal health to new studies, new science that's coming out about the world of photobiomodulation, and also just talk about our own experience with Photizo and with light therapy. In this episode, we're just going to have a little introduction. We're going to do these every month. It's going to be pre-recorded. So yeah, I thought we could just go through everyone here and just sort of give a very brief introduction. So I'm Liv. I've worked for the company for just over 4 years, and I do a little bit of everything, mostly social media, design works. I sort of help create blogs, articles, newsletters, all kinds of bits like that. I just kind of do a little bit of everything for the company. And so yeah, that's me. Who would like to go next?
You're also an event buddy as well.
Yeah, I'm also you also might see me at events too. So yes. Who wants to go next after me?
You want to go OG?
Ruth?
Yeah, okay. So hi everyone, I'm Ruth, and I've been on board right from the beginning of, even before Photizo was launched, to be honest. So yeah, I do pretty much everything. It's like Liv, and my journey with Photizo has been pretty incredible from the early days, and I wouldn't go anywhere without my Photizo. Oh dear.
So, did you want to go next?
So I'm Sophie. You'll probably see me at events. I am Ruth's daughter. So if anyone sees the familiarity, that's obviously how I have used Photizo as well as work with Photizo. So you would have seen me at events. I also do a mixture of a load of things, but now I mainly work in the office, and I'll be doing all the accounts and stuff like that. So but I also have a plethora of experience with Photizo on numerous species. So yeah, that's me.
Do I go next?
Yeah.
I'm Sue. I met Sophie and Ruth probably about 2018-19, I think. And I've been working for the company since round about then. And I do all sorts, like all of us sort of do all sorts, don't we? But mainly admin, and I work with the resellers and practitioners and do bits on the website and all sorts of those sorts of things. And that's me.
Hi, I'm Jolene. My Photizo journey started about 8 years ago when I came across the device for my daughter's knees. She had a lot of knee pain and growing pains, and we used it then before even the medical devices were available. And we had such good results from that then I started working with Photizo on the animal side, working in the dog agility area. So you probably see me a lot at trade stands, at dog shows and at Crufts. More recently, I've just started working as part of the team, working on the clinical side for humans, and trying to work with some of the clinicians that work with their late effects patients for radiotherapy. So you'll see me at events along with everybody else, but also doing some of the technical sciencey bits behind the scenes.
Okay. So I suppose this episode we're going to be talking mostly about the concept of Photizo and how it was started, and also what we're all sort of using it for. Obviously, we all work for the company. We all absolutely love the devices. We use the devices every day for so many different things. A lot of people at events and shows will ask us, well, what do you use them for? And I think actually, honestly, a shorter answer would be, what don't we use them for? I don't know about you, all in agreement with that. So I suppose probably Ruth would be the best person to ask about this, about the concept of Photizo and how it sort of came about. So did you want to talk about that, Ruth, and how it kind of started?
Yes. Photophotometric or low-level laser enthusiasts and users will realise that most of the research came through from low-level class 3B laser. We're now in 5 decades of research with just having clinic-based laser devices. And don't get me wrong, it's been a phenomenal modality, but there's always been a bit of a gap with regards to how often it can be applied when people or animals have to go back for laser. So the original concept was the idea or innovation from a fabulous physio in South Africa, where she understood, knowing, having great results with laser in her own clinic for all sorts of things, that they weren't always able to see people often enough, and that was one of the drawbacks for the wider adoption of the modality as a rule. So we were really lucky that back in the 90s, the light emitting diode technology, which isn't laser, it's spread out light, and it became strong enough to be able to get very similar results in terms of wound healing, tissue healing and pain relief. And the main concept of Photizo is really to bring a well-evidenced modality into the hands of everybody to use in a home care situation, if that's what is needed, at an affordable price, and to be a solution as opposed to keep going back to a clinic and having less frequent laser. It's not a replacement for laser at all. It's an add-on, and it helps to bring better treatment outcomes and better results with using the modality, whether you want to use it for long-term pain management, for an actual rehab program where something is going to be healed, or whether it's, post-surgical wound healing, or now proactively. It's simple, it's safe, and it's more affordable for everybody. And that's the key.
I use the Photizo most for my skin. I've had problem skin for as long as I can remember. I've had acne for as long as I can, all of my teens and even into my adults, and I'm 31 now and I still get spots. So I originally started using it for that. So I was using the trusty blush.
Yeah.
So yeah, but what I found from it was that when I was using it every day, I would use it in the evening before I go to bed. And if I would use it on a spot or any sort of inflamed area the next day, whereas usually that spot would probably be worse, it was either completely gone or the inflammation had reduced so much that it wouldn't even sort of, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't even, the inflammation reduced so much that it was barely there. So that was what I originally started using it for. But then, we use it for everything. Like, I think the most common phrase that any of us use between ourselves is, "Have you Photizo'd it?" Isn't it? Like, as soon as we hear that one of us or anyone that any of our loved ones will say, "Oh, I trapped my finger in the door, or I've bruised myself, or I've cut myself, or something," we'll just be like, "Have you Photizo'd it?"
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And you're always really cross with yourself if you're not the one that's done it first. You're like, "Oh yeah, I always tell people this so that I didn't do it for myself."
Yeah, but as well, I just wanted to say a little thing from yesterday. So I went to the beach yesterday because it was really hot, because it's been really, really hot around here in Cardiff. And of course, the beach, you don't have much shade. So I ended up burning my back. I know. But I got home, took a shower, put aloe vera gel on it, and then I actually used the Photizo pad on my back, and I used P3 for 5 minutes on top, on my shoulders, on my middle, and on my lower back, 5 minutes for each area. And today it's barely looks burn. It's actually, I've never used on sunburn before, but I'm really quite shocked at the results. So I feel like we're always being surprised by the power of Photizo and what it can actually do. I don't know about you, but I'm always being surprised.
Yeah.
At the time, I trapped my finger in the door, in a door once, and bloody hurt. It was really, really, really painful, and it would have bruised up so much and swollen up, and it would, but I immediately was like Photizo, all the way around. And I mean, I couldn't believe that, it barely even bruised after that. I was really, really, really shocked. But yeah, I'm always surprised by the power of light and the power of Photizo and what it can actually do. So yeah, I didn't know if anyone else had any stories, wanted to tell everyone what they use it for, or the most, or
Yeah.
Right. Sue's
I'm
going.
happy to tell you how what happened with me. So a little bit of a backstory, was when I first met Ruth. Ruth's very passionate about light, and I really didn't know anything about the modality at all when we first met. And I was working as a Bowen therapist in my clinic, and honestly, I have to try something before I have to see it for myself to believe that things work. So I had a machine and I was using it on myself, and I was thinking, I do not know how this works, but this is really working. This is amazing. So spoke to Ruth some more, did the CPD course that Ruth had then, and she's got an even improved course since then. And I started using it on my clients in my Bowen clinic. So I just started to incorporate it after I'd done my normal session with people. And most people that I saw at my clinic struggled with chronic pain. So I was seeing things that people had had for forever, and that they, it was maintaining people. And they'd come to see me every so often for a treatment. So I'd get lots of frozen shoulders. I'd get problems with hip bursitis, arthritis, knees, whatever you can imagine. So what I would do is I'd lend them my Photizo, and then they'd come back and then they'd want to buy one because it was just so good. Because it wasn't enough just using it when they came to see me. They needed to be using it regularly to get the best effect. And then I started working for the company. So I'm now retired from Bowen only recently. And I use it myself all the time. I've got 2 units, and my favourite is the pain relief, because I've been struggling lately with metatarsal bursitis, which is my feet, the tops of my feet, really chronically painful. This just takes it away. My blush is my other one that I use regularly when I go to bed on my face. I wouldn't be without. This is my favourite. On everything and everyone that moans about any pain they've got. But also the pads. I've also got the pads, and I use that if I get my knees are a bit achy, or if my lower back's hurting, and my partner. Yes. So absolutely love it for everything. And it needs to be in everyone's first aid kit, really.
Agree. Yeah.
So that's my little story about everything I use it on. It's too long to say everything you use it on.
It is, isn't it?
The list is endless, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably have a podcast on each one of them.
Yeah. And my passion is really with therapists and practitioners, and getting them to understand the modality and how to incorporate it in their clinics, and how they can have an extra income stream from using it as well. So if anyone wants to speak to me about that, talk to me.
Get in contact. Yeah. Who wants to go next? Ruth, and talk about your broken foot, maybe.
My goodness, I've got so many backstories. I really have.
Yeah.
So if anyone's spoken to me at events or seen me on a pod, they know that I've been involved in electrotherapy devices for quite a number of years. My first intro to that was using TENS machines when I had my babies in labour, which were phenomenal. So I had an awareness of that sort of electrotherapy type modalities and how good they can be for a pain. But it was simply by accident. I got introduced, obviously, to Photizo being developed, and just chit-chatting to an electrotherapy customer. And it wasn't until I actually broke my ankle in November 24 where I'm fully appreciating the mechanism that is being discussed about photobiomodulation with regards to how it fires up all the electrical signaling. So I've predominantly got very, very good health and very fortunate. But yes, that acute accident, silly, first thing in the morning,
Tripping over the
didn't
cat.
quite see the cat on the stairs. That would be another little bit of story. But didn't quite see the cat. I'm hypermobile, down one step, my ankle went over a right angle. At the bottom of the stairs, I knew straight away I'd done something serious. But my first instinct was to get back up the stairs on my backside, not put any weight on my foot and ankle. It was blowing up before my eyes, and get my trusted Photizo Sport on it.
What was funny about that, Ruth, if I could interject, is that we were going to a show that day, weren't we?
I know.
Over yours, and I just wake up to hear a live at the bottom of the stairs, and then I drove you to the hospital, and in the waiting room of the hospital, you were just beep 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 Photizo in it, and everyone was looking at us, being like, "What the hell are they doing?"
Waiting for X-ray and triage and everything. But yeah, so what I didn't really have any actual pain when in those first few days, when it's really severely acute, or the bruising was coming out like crazy. I was black and blue from the sole of my foot up to my knee, but all I can describe was repeating the sessions of using just a handheld, especially at night when I was in bed. All I felt like was my foot was constantly attached to high intensity electrotherapy, and that kind of disguised the actual pain and the throbbing that came with that sort of acute trauma. So what I actually did was I broke my fibula and 2 fractures on my little toe metatarsal. I did quite a lot, did some pretty horrendous soft tissue damage as well. And I was fortunate enough to get to a physio who really introduced me to some very good exercises to keep that mobilization. I was very, very lucky, I must admit. It was a stable fracture. I didn't have to have any pins. I could just have a boot so I could weight bear a little bit. But it was those first couple of weeks, when it was so acute, and people would probably survive on constant painkillers to sleep. But my foot was just it was buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
Yeah,
was that while you were doing Photizo?
No, it was between. Yeah, it was constant, because I was so regularly applying both the sport and the pain relief by the side, not the leg, because my whole foot was swollen like an elephant's foot. And you guys know the amount of bruising I had.
Crazy.
But yes, it was like going back to being in labour, when you press the boost button for a contraction, and it's like it was like that. So that's my biggest kind of appreciation of the key mechanism that we're talking about now, including the author Damien here at Health. He talks about the 4th phase of water, the electrical potential. So understanding that, I do understand that some people wouldn't appreciate that sensation with, that comes with using light therapy in that acute situation. But, I understood what was going on. But even earlier than that, it's just I regularly use the Photizo all on my neck, because as I got older, I think my old sporting injuries, where I do remember I kind of suffered whiplash. I used to get awful neck spasms that would just come on. It would just feel like fire. But since I've been incorporating Photizo into all that, my sort of neck care regime, I've never ever experienced those sort of fiery spasms that I used to get. My own sister used the Photizo on her double amputee partner for managing phantom limb,
Mm.
partner having endless blooming
Cycling
accidents, you know, smashing
Mm.
himself up. But also with regards to animal use, so our lovely Sasha that we lost almost a year ago now, she was a month off 21. So there was a couple of things that went on with how she loved bathing in the red light. So she really did appreciate it on her body, especially as she got older and she was very, very small cat. She preferred to be bathing it. So she loved red light. But we did have an incident probably about 5-6 years ago where she developed a corneal ulcer. And with her age, she was 17, 18, she could have maybe gone blind. It's a bit tricky. It was horrendous to try and get the eye drops in her, but
Or even to get her to the vets.
But when we actually took her back, so we used the light in combination with the drops from the vet. But when we took her back, I think it was about a week, the vet, even then, she said, which eye was it? There was absolutely nothing. Yeah, so we've had some really good stories with even eye ulcers and things like that. Yeah. So that's just a few of the real prominent stories for me, really.
Great. Sophie?
Gosh. Well, for starters, most people who have the original Photizo boxes will see my boy Todd on there. So he had a really nasty ulcerated gum disease. So we used to use it on him all the time. So one of the pictures we actually have is of us. Like, we were doing the rest method, which is where you allow them to kind of like rest their chin on your hand, and then you do treatment. And if they lift their head off, then you would take the unit away. And so it's kind of like consent based and everything. So yeah, we got some photos of us doing it on his gum. So we used to do it all along his cheeks and his jowls and stuff, and like you could see on his face when you were doing it, he would just be like, oh, thank God for that. So we used to use it on him. He also had like other like niggly things and stuff like that, like hips and stuff like that. You just like give him a zap. He used to love it all down his spine. So yeah, we used it on him loads. I have used it on myself personally for a whole host of things. Again, whenever we've had an accident, all of us have done that. When we've bruised ourselves, bumped ourselves, you get the Photizo and just whack it on. But yeah, like my big thing is IBS. So like I suffer with IBS issues, so I use it for those sorts of symptoms. And often I actually find that when I have like a bit of a flare up, where the pain actually isn't where like the source is, if that makes sense. So I'll be using the Photizo where the pain is, but then I'll say, for instance, I've got like a pain in my lower belly. I'll then like end up going all the way up to like my sternum, or not my sternum, but just under my rib cage. And then I typically find like the pain relieves there. It's very strange, but yeah, I use it for those sorts of things. I used Photizo for postpartum health care, so all sorts of things for that. I ended up having a breast abscess from breastfeeding, so I used it on that. So that was all skincare used in conjunction with Lucillin. I use it on my dog now, my lovely
18-month-old daughter as well.
Yes, my 18-month-old little girl. She loves using it. Every time she's had like a little bump, which obviously toddlers do all the time, every time she's had a little bump, you'll be like, do you want to use a Photizo? And she literally goes and grabs it, and she can press the button and put it where she wants. I mean, it's a little bit chaotic, but she loves it. So it just goes to show how easy it is, and
how everyone can use it.
Press the button and put it somewhere.
It's so easy to use, even an 18-month-old.
Yeah, I've got so many things. Yeah, honestly, I mean, like all of us, the list is endless of all the things that we've used it for. But yeah, what about you, Jolene?
So a few things that really stand out for me, like Ruth, bone healing. My mum broke her arm quite high up here and couldn't have it plastered. So she used the Photizo basically straight away when she did that. And when she went back to the consultant 12 days later, he said he'd never seen a break heal like that in a person of her age before when he re-x-rayed. And all she did was use the Photizo locked daily. She's since had a fractured vertebrae, and she's been using the pad on that. And again, by the time that was x-rayed, it had already started to heal. That was 2.5 weeks after doing that injury. So yeah, from a bone healing point of view, I think it really does work. Then, as I say, my daughter used it on her knees. That was really great. And it stopped with all the painkillers that she was taking. And our painkiller usage as a household has massively diminished. We hardly use any painkillers now. We only use Photizo. Use it on the dogs, part of the agility dogs, part of their warm-ups. If they've got any specific injuries on those areas too, or if we know they've got injury, they've had old injuries, we tend to use it on that. And the latest thing I've used the pad for is insect bites. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
My husband had a lot of, probably about 15 insect bites on the back of his leg, and it took the whole of his calf. And we used the pad on the 10 hertz setting. He used it twice a day, and within 24 hours it had dramatically reduced in size, and after 3 days it had just disappeared altogether.
I always notice if I'm using it on insect bites, the itching, if I'm feeling like ridiculous itching, I'll use Photizo. Just, I think I'd just use a pain relief or any of the sport or anything, and just do it once on it, and then the itching just goes away. It's honestly,
that's what he said. He said it didn't itch at all after he used it for the first time. The itching just totally disappeared. So
it's
so
brilliant.
multiple uses, but those are the stories that really stand out to me the most.
Brilliant.
I think often we typically will just try it on anything, don't we? Like if we all have something, we'll try it. If it works, it works. But it's rare that it doesn't. But
yeah, of course. I think the great thing about it is the fact that it is so versatile. Obviously, there's very minimal contraindications. I feel like the only contraindications are don't use it on a known cancerous site and don't use it over a fetus if you were working on an animal and their animal's pregnant. So, but because of that, I mean, it's just sort of a thing of we know that it reduces inflammation and it helps with pain relief. We know that it can help with facilitating healing of any kind. So a lot of the time it's kind of like, well, what have we got to lose? You might as well try it.
With regards to cancer, frequently asked question is can I use it? But the precaution is not directly over the site for a tumour suspected or diagnosed. If anyone's had surgery for it to be removed, then you refer back to clinician or vet to see that to make sure that they're happy. For it to be used for a post-operative wound healing, that's down to the health professionals to confirm. But it has been used for that purpose. But as Jolene said earlier, we're now getting a great amount of interest, especially for the pain relief model, for supportive care post-cancer radiotherapy treatment with painful side effects.
And we'll be doing an episode about that at some point as well, going more into detail about the studies and who we're working with specific nurses
and the reason why it's possible is because we have got that medical license behind the pain relief, the sport and the skincare.
Fantastic. Right, well, I think we shall wrap this episode up now. Another thing just to add, so we'll also be doing a community segment in these podcasts every month, so if anyone has any questions, anything they want us to talk about, just pop that in the comments and we can get to that next month. And
any questions and we'll get them answered for the next episode.
Fantastic.
Fire your questions over, guys.
Fire questions over.
And there's not a question that we haven't heard already, I'm sure. You've heard some weird ones.
Absolutely.
That's another episode.
It is. We've got lots of exciting episodes planned, so stay tuned and we'll be here next month. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.